Perfection! Wonder what Rowling's working on now. Accio Internet! What? Blasphemy! Ha! You thought it was over, didn't you? Nope. After cranking out 7 books and 8 movies, it seems that J.K. Rowling and Warner Brothers have teamed up once again, but this time it seems they're taking a page out of The Hobbit's book. Well, not like the book, The Hobbit, the movies. They're making 3 movies from 1 book, like what The Hobbit did. It's a common expression. You get it. But unfortunately, this new trilogy will not feature Harry and his friends, but an entirely new cast of characters, inspired from J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, written in the Harry Potter universe but not included in the 7-book series that we know and love today. Now, if you aren't familiar with this book, you're not alone, but it turns out that J.K. Rowling actually wrote several books, 5, if you're including the 2 Video Game Wonder books, that were spin-offs mainly written to grow money for her charities. Surprisingly enough, being the nerd that I am, I actually have a few of these spin-off books. I found 3, and the one that you're probably most familiar with, if you've read the books, is The Tales of Beedle the Bard, which is a wizarding storybook that J.K. Rowling wrote that includes all the ones that weren't and some that were mentioned in the original Harry Potter books. And then these 2 were written a few years ago, mainly to raise money for her charity. That's why these were written. One of them is Quidditch Through the Ages, which I guess talks about the history of Quidditch and stuff. And then finally, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Now folks, if you thought The Hobbit was stretching it on 3 movies for 1 book, that got nothing on this. This 42-page pamphlet is gonna make 3 movies. And there's not even a story to it, it presents itself like a textbook, where it just talks about, well, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. But the movie series is gonna feature, the main character is the author, Newt Scamander, however you say his name, and it's gonna be the adventures of him and his friends. After I started reading more into these books, I discovered a few very specific details that at first I just brushed off, but as I read more and more, they started to link together to create a much larger plot than the original 7 Harry Potter books, which proves that everything you thought you knew about Harry Potter was a lie. Well, not a lie per se, I mean, it's true, just it's part of the truth. Just a small fragment of the larger truth. Anyway, so to fully explain this, let me take you through the timeline that is created by these details and facts hidden throughout these other books. It all started before the Harry Potter series, before he got his tedious face cut, before he became a wizard, whatever order it was in, hundreds of years ago when it all started, when wizards first went into hiding. Now this fact was sort of skimmed over in the original book series, but it goes more in depth in the Tales of Beedle the Bard, describing that wizards went into hiding because they were persecuted by the muggles. Like, remember that whole burning witches at the stake thing? Yeah, apparently they don't like that, so they went into hiding. Fast forward a bunch of years later, now we have young Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Grindelwald is a character that is described in the Harry Potter book series, and is sort of the pre-Voldemort. He wanted to bring wizards back out of hiding and wanted to punish the Muggle, process. Just kill the Muggles. Kill all the Muggles. Of course, Dumbledore, being the boss that he is, knew that was probably not a good idea, so he defeated Grindelwald. Of course, a couple years later, now Voldemort comes into view, who's essentially a magical Hitler, except without the mustache. Or the nose. But anyway, like Grindelwald, Voldemort wants to bring the magical world back into existence, but to kill all muggles, all mudbloods. So Dumbledore enacts a plan to use Harry Potter to kill Voldemort, which is essentially what the whole 7-book series is about, but also to enact another part of his plan. He's going to bring wizards back into the light. To do this, he's leaking information to the Muggle public about wizards. That's where Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them comes in. In the foreword, it says that they are both written for a Muggle audience, that they are taken from Hogwarts libraries and brought to the Muggle world, our world. Why? Why is Dumbledore leaking this information? We'll get to that later, but it doesn't stop there, because a few more years later, spoiler alert, what, is it really? It's been like 20 years. Not even. Yes, even. I don't know how long ago it was. Dumbledore dies, okay? He's kaput. Fall off a tower, splat. It's not very pretty. But his plan is still going on after that. After a few years after the events of the 7th book, the Battle of Hogwarts, some papers are found in Dumbledore's office that are commentaries on the Tales of Beedle the Bard, the wizarding storybook that we looked at a little bit before. These are also released to the Muggle public, as said, and it even says in this book that the original 7 Harry Potter books are like biographies. So this is suggesting that all this information, all this culture and history of this secret society is being leaked out into the Muggle world. Why? Because that is the perfect way to bring wizards back into the society with Muggles. Put up all the information as fiction at first, so they will learn to accept it, make movies off of it, and freaking a theme park. I've been there. It's fantastic, by the way. I recommend you go there too. So after they accept it, then the wizards can be like, oh yeah, just kidding, we're real, by the way. Gotcha. And the Muggles already know all about them, so they don't have to go through this whole process of getting to know them and learning all these things. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the wizarding world is real. It's not. These are fictitious characters and plots inside J.K. Rowling's mind that she has created. I'm saying in this fictitious universe, why? Why on earth would Muggles and wizards coexist? What could a Muggle bring to the table that wizards could not? They can just swish and flick the freaking hand and summon whatever they want. Like cake, bam. There's a cake edited on my hand. I'm keeping it still, because if I move it, illusion's gone. Unless hovering.